Let's start with Databricks. To understand Databricks, we need to go back to Apache Spark. In the early days of big data, organizations struggled to process massive datasets efficiently. But Spark came on board and changed that. It allowed teams to process huge volumes of information much faster than previous technologies. The creators of Spark realized something important. And what was that? Is that organizations were not just struggling with processing data, they were struggling with managing the entire life cycle of data. And all of this life cycle involve engineering, analytics, machine learning, governance. Essentially, everything existed in separate silos. So they created Databricks. And over time, Databricks became much more than a Spark company. The platform evolved into a complete ecosystem for data engineering, analytics, and machine learning. And today, you even have AI built on top of Databricks. Today, Databricks is used by thousands of organizations worldwide and is often considered one of the leading platforms for advanced analytics and AI development. In fact, when you talk about AI and data today, one organization comes to mind and is Databricks and their platform. Microsoft, on the other hand, approached the problem from a different direction. You see, for years, Microsoft customers use multiple services across Azure. And if you've been a Microsoft customer, I know you've been there. Power BI was used for reporting, you had Azure Data Factory for integration, you now have Synapse for analytics, you have a separate governance tool, and you had a separate storage solution. And each of these services, they were powerful, but many customers, I wanted a simpler experience. Instead of managing multiple products, they wanted one environment, one interface, one data foundation, one security model. In fact, just make everything into a single solution. And Microsoft tried to provide an answer to that, and they announced Fabric. Now, Fabric brought together multiple analytics experience into a single SaaS platform. At the center, you have the One Lake. Microsoft often describes One Lake as the OneDrive for data. The goal is simple: store data once and use it everywhere. You have your analytics team using it, engineers use it, data scientists use it, and even business users use this. The vision Microsoft had was basically to reduce friction across all of the organization. And that's where Fabric has gained enormous momentum. Let's start with one category your stakeholders really care about, is adoption. Because the best platform in the world doesn't matter if nobody uses it. Imagine you have two companies. The first company already runs Microsoft 365. Employees collaborate in teams, reports are built in Power BI, and your data obviously live in Azure. For this organization, if you ask them, Fabric feels very familiar immediately because this is their ecosystem, this is where everybody is. And many users already understand the Microsoft ecosystem. The learning curve is much lower and the transition into something like Fabric is smoother. Now, imagine a company with a strong engineering culture. Data engineers, platform engineers, machine learning teams, open source technologies, cloud native development. This organization may feel equally comfortable inside Databricks. But for the average enterprise looking for quick adoption, Fabric usually has an advantage. In fact, Microsoft intentionally designed Fabric to lower barriers between technical and non-technical users. They had seen what Databricks had built, and they wanted to build something that was kind of in between so that both technical and non-technical people could use that. And that matters a lot because successful companies are not judged by the number of features that they have. They are judged by how many people can actually use them. And for this category, I'm going to give it to Fabric just because of the lower barrier to entry. Now let's enter Databricks territory. Data engineers love Databricks. Ask the average data engineer, they're going to tell you they love Databricks. ML engineers love Databricks. Data engineering is where Databricks built its reputation. Databricks thrive in complexities, complex transformation, large-scale batch processing, streaming data, massive data sets. In fact, the more complex, the better for Databricks. Petabyte scale workloads. This is the environment Databricks was born into. Many of the world's largest data teams run mission-critical pipelines on Databricks every day. Fabrics has also tried. They've made enormous progress in that regard. Its notebook experience continues to improve, although nothing like Databricks, but they are making some improvement. We have Spark integration, which has matured significantly. Data factory compatibilities continue expanding, but when engineering complexity reaches some extreme levels, Databricks still holds a noticeable edge. Think of it this way. Fabric often prioritizes accessibility, while Databricks often prioritizes flexibility. And at large scale, complexity becomes extremely valuable. And for this category, you obviously know who the winner is Databricks. Well, this third category may be the easiest to score because Power BI remains one of the most widely used analytics tool on the planet. Well, according to Gartner's Magic Quadrant, Power BI has consistently been recognized as a leader in analytics and business intelligence. With Fabric, Power BI isn't an external tool that you need to integrate. It's built directly into the platform. The reporting experience feels natural. You have your semantic layer, which is seamlessly integrated. Business users can move from raw data to dashboards without constantly switching environment. Although today you have Databricks also building their own dashboard experience, but it's nothing like Power BI. But I give it to Databricks because they support BI on the back end. They connect well and integrate well with other BI tools. Thousands of organizations connect Power BI, Tableau, and other reporting tools to Databricks. But reporting isn't Databricks' historical strength. For business intelligence, Microsoft experience and ecosystem remain difficult to beat. You just can't beat that. And so for this category, I'm going to give it to Microsoft Fabric. And for this fourth round, no platform discussion in 2026 is complete without AI. And that's all we need to talk about the AI battle. This is where the competition becomes fascinating. Of course, we know Databricks has invested heavily in becoming an AI platform. And as a matter of fact, most of their summit is now called Data and AI Summit. The company offers the ML flow, model lifecycle management, feature engineering tools, vector search, agent development capability, and Mosaic AI. In fact, they've infused Genie into all of the code development. You can use Genie to write your code, and it can do all of the deployment. You can even deploy apps in Databricks today. The focus is just giving technical teams maximum flexibility. But when you come to Fabric, Fabric takes a different approach. Microsoft AI strategy is deeply connected to Copilot and Azure AI services and OpenAI technologies rather than Fabric. The goal is not about helping data scientists. It's not really their priority. The priority is helping everyday users interact with data through AI. This creates an interesting distinction here because Databricks often appeals to organizations building advanced AI systems. Fabric often appeals to organizations trying to democratize AI across businesses. Both strategies, they are very powerful, don't get me wrong. But if you were evaluating technical AI capabilities alone, Databricks currently has the advantage. And that is why when it comes to data and AI, neglect every other thing which Microsoft is really great at. But data and AI, I'm going to give it to Databricks for this segment. Okay, for the fifth round, here's something people rarely talk about. The biggest reason many AI projects fail is not the model, it's the data. If the data is not trusted, the insights will not be trusted either. That's why governance matters. Databricks offers Unity Catalog. And Fabric, what does it offer? Well, Fabric benefits from Microsoft Purview, and the integration to Microsoft Purview is its own governance tool. Both solutions, they try to help organizations answer critical questions. Who owns this data? Who can access the data? Where did it come from? Can we trust this data? And in the world we live in today, governance is no longer optional, it's foundational. And honestly, both vendors have invested heavily enough that most organizations will find strong governance capabilities regardless of the choice that they go with. And because you have Unity Catalog on one hand, you have Purview, which is an incredible tool that Fabric benefit from. I would say this is a tie. No one really wins here. But if you ask me personally, I have my opinion, but just for the sake of this video, let me call it a tie. And for the sixth round, let's talk about strategy. Many large enterprises don't want to depend entirely on one cloud provider. I personally wouldn't want to. They want options. Even when they are not using these options, they still want the option to be able to move around. And this is where Databricks shines. Databricks runs across AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. Organizations can maintain greater flexibility as business needs evolve. Fabric is closely tied to the Microsoft ecosystem. For Microsoft customers, that's often a strength. For organizations pursuing aggressive multi-cloud strategy, you start having some limitations because you are closely tied to Azure and you really can't move around. And because of this multi-cloud strategy, I'm going to give it to Databricks. I want to have options to integrate with any cloud platform I choose. And for the seventh one, everyone eventually asks the same question. Cost. What platform costs less to use? The honest answer is frustrating. It depends. You see, Fabric's capacity-based pricing can be attractive at first, especially for organizations already paying for Microsoft technologies. Databricks offers incredible scalability, but often requires very careful optimization to control your spending. I've seen organizations save money from Fabric. I've also seen organizations save money with Databricks. The platform is not usually deciding the factor. Your data architecture is deciding how much you spend eventually. And don't get me wrong, I know there are a lot of nuances, especially with the platform, and sometimes you need to do some tweak on the platform side. But overall, poorly designed solutions become expensive regardless of the technology being used. So rather than declaring a winner in this segment, it's more accurate to call this category a draw because it depends on your use case. And that's why I'm going to say this is a draw. So if you ask me which data platform wins, I would say if your organization is deeply invested in Microsoft technologies and they rely heavily on Power BI and they value simplicity, maybe Fabric is an incredible, compelling solution for you because they remove the friction and accelerates easy adoption across the business. But if your organization prioritizes large-scale engineering, you have more data engineers than non-technical people, and you are building any kind of advanced AI deployment, you have multi-cloud strategy, you are building ML models, and all of these things that require large scale, Databricks remains one of the strongest choices available today. The reality is that there isn't one winner amongst these two. These are two winners serving different needs. Fabric is becoming the default choice for many Microsoft-centric enterprise. Databricks remains a powerhouse for organizations pushing the boundaries of data engineering and AI. If you ask me, the real winner is whichever platform helps my team spend less time managing technology and more time creating value. Because at the end of the day, nobody gets promoted for having the most complicated data architecture. You get promoted for solving problems. And that's exactly what these platforms are supposed to do. Share your thoughts in the comment below. If you found this video useful, give it a like and subscribe for more content on data engineering, analytics, AI, and modern data platforms. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Yes, you. Bye for now.